Thanks. Thanks, everyone. Good afternoon. Entropy Neurodynamics is essentially a drug delivery company. Our mission is to bring precision-controlled psychedelic medicine into mainstream neuropsychiatry. Now, I know what everyone says when it comes to psychedelics, but I don't have that discussion anymore because there's enough data that's been generated now, especially with psilocybin. People would know that as magic mushrooms often, how effective it can be for neuropsychiatric conditions. I think it's very clear now, even to large pharmaceutical companies, that these products really work. And if you're not on board, they're really out of the picture. And that's certainly what we've seen over the last 6 to 9 months. So most people know what psilocybin is. I'll talk about the slide first, why not? We are a disciplined, well-aligned organisation. You'll see the top shareholders, you'll see that most of those are directors, as well as top shareholders. Everyone has skin in the game and they really want to see this company work. And we have the drug and the delivery model to make it work. And this is a global movement that is going to change psychiatry for the next 50 years. You'll see one of those names, Herwig Janssen. For those that don't know who that is, he's the son of the founder of Janssen Pharmaceuticals, which is Johnson & Johnson's pharmaceutical unit. His father, Dr. Paul Janssen, created essentially the modern psychiatry arena. So schizophrenia, modernised psychiatry as we know it. And Herwig actually wanted to be chair of this company, the only company he's chair of since he retired after 40 years at J&J, because he believes that this product will change psychiatry for the next 50 years. We're only a 50 million market cap company. We have $7 million, $6.5 million in cash. We have cash right up to producing data for 3 clinical studies that we're operating right this year. And our team are really strategically linked to the company. Before I get into what our flagship product is, which is TRP 8803, IV-infusion, precision-controlled delivery of a psychedelic, it's important to understand the foundation that we've come from. We had an oral psilocybin program, and it has delivered meaningful clinical results in 3 significant neuropsychiatric indications. You can see them there: fibromyalgia, complete body pain, binge eating disorder, one of the most difficult disorders to treat. In fact, there is not a treatment out there that can help people in binge eating disorder. And irritable bowel syndrome, again, another very, very difficult condition to treat. In fact, it's one of the few gastroenterological conditions that still remains with such a large population of people that have it, and very, very limited treatments that can fix it. But still, we work with oral psilocybin. We know the drug works. We've got data in 3 conditions, which we now have PCT patent, awaiting patent finalisation for those 3 indications, which will mean indication level protection for 20 years in those 3 conditions. But there's an issue with oral psilocybin. There's a reason why we didn't want to keep working with it. 8 to 10 hour sessions, significantly labour intensive, 1 to 3 hour onset, very variable from one patient to the next. You simply don't know what the outcome is going to be. Will it work in this patient? What will the effect be when it does hit them, whenever that might be in this 3-hour period? And I have to be there as a therapist, would have to be there to sit and watch and wait for something to happen. And that scares people. There's a reason why there's not much psychedelic use medically in Australia, even though the barriers really are lower than everywhere else in the world. It's because clinicians are scared of what the outcome's going to be. They need control over the treatment. They need precise treatment. And that's just not what we have. So the biology really works, but the delivery does not. Delivery is broken. There's a reason why AbbVie, one of the top 10 pharma companies in the world, purchased a company, or an asset actually, from a company for $2 billion, a 2-hour IV IV-infusion to treat depression. Okay, $2 billion. They could have bought an oral psilocybin company for less than half of that. There's a reason why large pharma has no interest in psilocybin. And I've worked in large pharma for 35 years before I came back to Australia a couple of years ago. And I was a huge psychedelic skeptic. I think it was a tent thing in South America somewhere, until I saw data that I could not refute. It's undeniable, but you can't deliver it properly. The model is not scalable. Once you swallow this thing, you can't stop it, you can't reverse it, you can't slow it down. You certainly can't add more to it because of the variability between patients. It's not commercially viable, but yet people are using it now. But that's not the model that's going to change psychiatry. And that's really where IV infusion of the active ingredient that goes from your vein to your brain. Very low doses, but everyone receives the right dose because you don't go through your liver to metabolize an IV. There's a reason why anesthesia doesn't give you a tablet to go before you have surgery. You need precision. You need precision in psychedelics. These are significant, serious medications, and they should be delivered in the way where your outcome is going to be the best possible outcome you can get. So TRP 8803 is the first precision-controlled IV infusion of psilocin. This is a platform. This is not just a drug. The mechanism we believe we have will go across multiple neuropsychiatric indications, not just one or two. It's adjustable, it's reversible, and it's predictable. Everything that oral psilocybin and current psychedelics are not. So just stepping back for a moment and looking at our last study that we released data on just a couple of months ago in IBS. This was with oral psilocybin, TRP 8802. Although it's broken, it still worked in this case. 75% of patients with IBS responded. This is actually better than any other medication that's currently approved in IBS. Now, yes, it's 12 patients, but 75% reduction is not by chance. And these are refractory, which means they're treatment resistant to other treatments and therapies in IBS. Every other product you see there that has less than 75% response all got their approval to use in IBS based on anyone that has IBS without trying any treatment first. We have the worst of the worst in our study, and we got 75% responder rate. I cannot wait to get 8803 into an IBS population. So I want to come to the most exciting part of what we're doing. Now, people have said to me, what is binge eating disorder? Why is it important? Don't GLP-1s get used for that? It's like 25% of people with BED have attempted suicide. This is an obsessive compulsive disorder. Only 40% are obese. The rest of them you wouldn't know from the outside they had binge eating disorder. In fact, this is the way most eating disorders are, except for the ones you can really, really notice, like anorexia. So people walk around with this condition, with an obsessive-compulsive disorder that needs treatment without an effective treatment. So we've completed cohort 1 of binge eating disorder, our first 6 patients. We now have data availability at the end of this month, and we'll release that to investors in early July. What we expect to see with pretty great results, because every single patient in that study got a great intense effect of the drug. No variability. Everyone received the right dose. What is actually really unique, and something that I have never highlighted before in any meeting, any presentation, except for this one, is the breadth and the depth of the data set that we're generating. Every other medication for eating disorders, in this particular case, does binge eating reduce? And then you get an approval of your drug, even though that's all you have. We're capturing 6 integrated domains: behavioural, functional, psychological, quality of life, interoceptive and cognitive emotional. We are collecting data around, have we helped in this condition, not just have we stopped you from eating compulsively for a very short time while you're taking a drug. No medication-based eating disorder has ever attempted a data set this comprehensive. I am very, very confident in this drug. As I said, I've been in the industry for over 3 decades. I've been in business development for 5 years, working under Herwig Janssen, who I know very well. I know a good company when I see it, and I know a good drug when I see it. This is first of its kind clinical architecture, mechanism, medication, multi-domain behavioural and psychological measurement over 20 weeks. It positions the company as a scientific leader, not just within psychedelic communities, but within psychiatry communities. We are generating data that no one has ever generated before. And in terms of whether this is a good idea or not, as I said, AbbVie, one of the top 10 pharma companies in the world, less than 12 months ago purchased a very small asset from a very small company based on 30 patients worth of depression data. And they paid $2 billion Australian dollars for it. And that was a company called Gilgamesh. 2-hour IV infusion for depression. The thing about our organisation is we have an IV infusion. We obviously have 3 indications that no one else can go into with another psychedelic. And we have a patent that's approved in Australia now and awaiting approval in other countries around the world that allows us to be the only company delivering a psychedelic through a 2-phase IV infusion. Now, why does that sound important? 2-hour infusion, 2-hour infusion, 2-phase infusion, what's the difference? Only with a 2-phase infusion can you reach, with a loading dose, the point that you have an effect, and you can have a maintenance dose to hold those patients. That is our patent. We hold that for 20 years. So we're the only company that can deliver an IV with precision in the world. It's actually pretty cool. Now, recently the US has gone through some changes. They've announced a bill that's supposed to accelerate psychedelics. I should say, oh, huge tailwinds for the industry. It's really important, it's really valuable, blah, blah, blah. But the most important thing is they're going to allow to accelerate 2 particular products in the US in this arena, both of them being oral psilocybin. For us, we couldn't be happier. It will allow the market to utilise these products in neuropsychiatry, and it will also allow a couple of years for people to realise just how many barriers there are to oral psilocybin therapy. I know, because our company had one for 3 years. And then, ta-da, then we come in. It's a nice opportunity. There is a federal posture change. A couple of years ago, it took a year to get drug in a clinical trial from one state of the US to the other with the DEA. These things are changing, and they're changing rapidly, and that will help us. But make no mistake that our company is in a position to globally lead this category. And this is like the pharmaceutical industry 100 years ago before they got their act together. This is going to be a change in psychiatry. And there's a reason why 2 large pharma companies have purchased psychedelic businesses in the last year. When I started leading this company 2 years ago, you would not see a pharma person near it. They didn't want to know about it, they didn't want to believe it, they didn't want to get it. Now they get it. 2 companies, 2 large companies in the last year means that the next year or 2, they're all going to get it. Because the one thing about pharma industry that's pretty clear is they all follow each other, and they'll all follow. So why are we different? I talked about binge eating. We'll have some data coming out in about 3 weeks from now. 3 weeks from now, we'll be able to say, this is the mechanism, this is the data, this is our result. Now, cohort 1, we'll get data on. Cohort 2 is fully enrolled. That'll begin very, very shortly. No delays. And then we have a larger study happening that I'll be able to announce towards the end of the next quarter. In fact, hopefully earlier in the quarter, around 60 patients that will be dosed this year across multiple indications, just to show that the mechanism that we believe is right will be right. We have a lot of patents. We have more patents or patents pending. More patents pending, I would say. They're all PCT. But in this industry, for those that knew what they were doing, it's a land grab. It's an opportunity to pick up large pieces of IP protection that allows your company to be more valuable in the eyes of those that will want to globalise it. I tried to build this company with my team in a way that makes it attractive for large pharmaceutical companies to buy it and globalise it. And when we start releasing our data, I believe people are going to see just how good this is going to be in psychiatry, and it will change this industry. Thank you.